Hello and welcome to another episode of the Business of Business podcast. I'm Roy. Of course, we are the podcast that brings you a lot of different guests talking about a wide variety of subjects that have to do with business. And this is our new series. This is going to be part 2 of our Google ads. And we're going to welcome back Bobby from Signa Marketing. Bobby, how's it going today?
Oh, it's doing great, Roy. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's nice and sunny here in Phoenix today.
Awesome. Yeah, we're getting a little sun here in Texas as well. So, last week we talked about, kind of getting started with the Google Ads process. And, we both, I think, agree that it's a must. It is the way to, get our names out there, to generate some leads, things like that. But on the backside of that, Google, they tend to have some awesome engineers that really develop some complex products. And so, it can be daunting, the first time you pull up the Google ads to get started. Some people are like, I just can't do it, and they quit right there. So hopefully this series is going to give us some actionable items to kind of help walk people through it. Of course, they are always welcome to reach out to you there at Signa Marketing, and I'm sure that your team would be glad to help them if it's too much or they just don't have time for it. So with that, let's just get into number 2. I think we're going to talk about campaign types. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So when you first create your Google Ads account and you click that, create campaign button, you'll be greeted by a surplus of, options here. And they've really tried to refine this a little bit more in terms of kind of creating these buckets. And they basically kind of ask you what your goals are. Is it brand awareness? Is it lead gen, right. Et cetera? And kind of try to guide you from there. So you can select one of these options. One is brand awareness. And some of the networks that you can choose there are going to be like video or display advertising, because it really kind of gets you out there in terms of being an online billboard in that sense, or a video that is getting in front of a new market.
Right.
But what does happen sometimes when people choose these predefined campaign types, they actually get fixated or controlled in a sense by the platform with limited options. And it's really actually so that it's done in a way so that Google's kind of protecting the user in the sense of like, not trying to make it too complicated.
Right.
But in turn, they kind of actually restrict certain settings.
Yeah.
And when you go to do more sophisticated stuff, you end up having to sometimes create a brand new campaign from scratch, just because a certain setting sometimes is fixed and you can't change it once you create the campaign.
Yeah.
So I would recommend always, it might be intimidating at first, but always select that very last option that says custom settings, custom campaign type.
Okay.
And that's what you want to click first. And then from there, it's going to guide you into what type of campaign type you want to choose. So the common one's going to be a search campaign, a display campaign, or even a video campaign.
Okay.
So for example, search is definitely going to be a very common one. When you create a search campaign, from there, it's actually going to take you to some of the generic settings, like what type of location do you want to target? What type of geographic location? You can get pretty detailed. You can target a zip code, or you can target a specific city and put a radius around it. Okay. You can target the whole radius, or even the whole DMA region, or even the entire state, or even country in that sense. So, geo-targeting is going to be one major setting. After that is definitely going to be as far as building ad groups. And a lot of people sometimes get intimidated with this part, and this kind of goes into like building a structure. But the reason why it does matter is because sometimes you'll have, say, a set of 100 keywords. What you want to stay away from is just throwing all the keywords into one ad group. You want to make sure that you actually theme these out, and what we kind of call them is like buckets of keywords that are just very tightly themed in that sense. And the reason why that's important is because then you can write ad copy that is completely 100% related to those keywords.
Okay. Yeah. That's a good idea.
So that's some of the process there. And I'm keeping this super high level just to make it easy, consumable. But from there, that's when you are able to just hit submit and have a campaign that's actually built out. I know later on we'll dive into more of the details of how to structure these campaigns, but But that first one is going to be a search campaign. The other type, how I mentioned, is display and video. So this display is actually really neat because you can target basically any type of blog or news website out there that has opted into the Google Display Network. So these are websites that decided to monetize their content through the Google Display Network and allow advertisers like us to place ads on there. Okay. So with display, we have a lot of options by targeting by keyword. So basically targeting pieces of content out there that are talking about a specific subject matter that we'd like to get ads in front of. Or we can even use custom audiences, which I'm really fond of. Basically, you can add URLs or even just keyword topics, and the Google system itself, kind of by seeing people's user behavior, et cetera, can target those people that have shown interest in certain topics or services or products or anything like that. So, and then lastly, there's also remarketing and display campaigns. And remarketing actually is not just focused on any campaign type. You can run it on search, display, or video, but it's pretty common to use remarketing in display and video because of the fact that it's a brand awareness channel. So you can basically really just drive that frequency and get that familiarity going by getting that same message in front of someone that has visited your website before and just building that familiarity. So with display campaigns, you could definitely do that. Moving into video is really neat because the primary channel is definitely going to be YouTube as far as where your ad could run. You can run it as a pre-roll ad where everyone's seen it where you go to YouTube, you're watching a video and you get a pre-roll ad and you can hit that skip ad button, but that's a pre-roll. Or you can run a true view where it's like a 10-second video where you can't skip it. It's kind of but those advertisers pay more for that type of placement.
Yeah.
So the cool thing with video is you can actually opt into other networks. So apart from just advertising on YouTube, any publishers out there that have decided to monetize their videos that are on their website, your ads can show up there as well.
Okay. Yeah, and I think it's good to mention that while YouTube is a part of Google, we still think of these as two separate search engines. And if I'm still correct, YouTube is still a bigger search engine than Google, the Google search engine. Is that correct?
It's the second largest search engine in the world. Okay. Yeah, YouTube. Yeah. It's tremendous. But the way to think about it is absolutely as a search engine because you can buy keywords on YouTube and get your video ad showing at the very top, or you can run it as a pre-roll ad.
Yeah, and the other thing that I've heard, I'm kind of asking for your confirmation on this, not making a statement of fact, but so many people go to Google to learn how to that if you can structure your video as a, how to something, maybe demonstrating your product or putting it together or a problem solving, my understanding is that those tend to kind of rise to the top as well.
Oh, hands down, absolutely. And there's certain keywords, like actually as an example with one of our current clients that we were doing keyword research for YouTube, they're in the mortgage business and they were asking, should we title this video, how do I get approved for a home loan? Is it still optimized for home loan or basically for applying for a home loan? Yeah. And the thing is, yes, it is because even the first part of how do I, Google kind of already understands that if someone is just typing into a search bar, apply for a home loan, then most likely they're also wondering how the heck do I do this?
Right.
So it's all about intent, and Google is just ridiculously good at that now. But to what you mentioned, I mean, that's where when you go to Google search, you'll actually see YouTube video ad results on that page as well. Yeah. So you'll see, you'll see basically different formats of content, whether it's even video, audio, or contextual now on that first page of Google, depending on subject.
Okay.
But yeah.
All right. Awesome, Bobby. Anything else you want to add on that before we get out of here?
Yeah, so I would say just to recap, for new advertisers, do not be scared about hitting that custom settings because that is like the most frustrating thing is creating a campaign that's guided, running it for some time, and then you want to do something different, and then you can't because it's disabled.
Yeah.
That specific setting is disabled. So one example is like on a video campaign, if you set it to target CPV, cost per view, that type of setting you can't change after that and make it manual if you wanted to.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say definitely feel free to go down the custom route, and
Okay.
you won't be able to break anything. You'll be
Yeah.
safe.
Yeah, that's good advice because people, novices like myself, I tend to shy away from those custom features just because of that. So, good advice. Again, these are actionable items. We're hoping that you guys out there will take advantage of in the audience. But of course, if it's something that you need help with, Bobby and his team are here to help. So, Bobby, before we get out of here, why don't you tell them how they can reach out and get a hold of y'all?
No, thank you, Roy. I appreciate the opportunity. Yeah, everyone can find us at signamarketing.com. That's just SIGN as in Nancy and an A. And same with all our social media handles. It's just Signa Marketing. I have a fun Q&A style show in which I answer any and all digital marketing questions called Blueprint on YouTube. So if anyone has questions about Google Ads, feel free to just visit our YouTube channel and send us a comment. I'm more than happy to answer them there.
Okay, awesome. Bobby, thanks a lot. We will see you next week for the third installment. I think we're going to talk about how to actually build the campaign. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yep.
Okay.
We're gonna go deeper into the step-by-step on that.
Okay, awesome. Well, you can find us, of course, at www.thebusinessofbusinesspodcast.com. Of course, these will go up on YouTube as well weekly when these episodes go live. We're also on all the major social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as well, Instagram. So reach out there, find us, connect. We'd love to hear your feedback. If you have some subjects you'd like for us to talk about, get back with us. Until next time, thanks a lot.